Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 2 between Mineski and Zero Latitude in the Joint Dota League Season 3. I am Mr. Blackadder for HeflaTV, and joining me should be Grandis V.
Yeah, that is correct. I only caught the very... excuse me, sorry about that. Only caught the very end of the last game, and wow, a Blade Mail Tinker versus a Blade Mail Pugna, that's something that you don't see every day.
Oh, it was something special. I very much enjoyed that unorthodox pick. We've had some crazy games lately, be they unorthodox picks or late game carnage. I believe memorable game for us too the other day. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. That thing was crazy. I can't even remember which teams were playing, but that was awesome.
That was Queen Squad versus He United, but. Well, right now we've got Mineski and Zero Latitude, so Doom banned out, Death Prophet removed, Brewmaster taken out. Is it going to be the Void or the Tinker taken out here? No, it's the Razor, completely wrong on all accounts, but casters are always wrong, what can we say? This does, however, leave Tinker here, or, of course, the Faceless Void for Zero Latitude.
It also leaves the Lycan in the pool, just something that we don't see very often. If Zero Latitude don't take that up, Mineski, I would expect them to first pick that one and just go all in for the push.
That would not surprise me, and the Lycan, we have a certain degree of hatred for Lycan games, because it can be a little bit one-sided or boring, but he's already making an impact this time as a Radiant Lycan, however, so it doesn't get the massive advantage that you get Direside regarding Roshan, but Mineski can now help themselves to another Jacko Tinker should they want it.
Yeah, and that would offer them a pretty good amount of counter push with the March Machines up against the summons coming out from the Lycanthrope and whatever else they want to throw at them. But that said, if they do win a team fight or they're able to pick off the Tinker, Lycan and company can very easily shred through those structures. So it's going to put a little bit of pressure on Mineski to try to keep away from their base as much as possible and try to keep those fights at arm's length.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree with you. They need to protect their towers something vicious this game, especially versus the Lycan. But if any team can do it, Mineski have proven that they can time and time again, be it with unorthodox picks, strategies, picks or bans. But from where we sit, Zero Latitude with a Lycan advantage, what kind of heroes are you looking for to go with this Lycan and Howl?
Let's see, Enigma, Nature's Prophet are the first two that come to mind. Just a vast amount of summons that can come out from them, as well as Enigma offering a large amount of teamfight pressure, as well as the split push coming out from Nature's Prophet. Other than that, you can see maybe a Chin or Enchantress, one of those other jungling supports, which could also be pretty solid, but looks like Mineski are going to go ahead and pick themselves up a Viper. Although it doesn't work extremely well versus Lycanthrope, it can control up a lot of heroes, as well as offer a very early mechanism for their team, and this second pick I like quite a lot. As it is a Tidehunter in lane, he can put a lot of pressure onto the Lycanthrope if he is in the matchup. Anchor Smash is very good at shutting down Lycanthrope from farming, and then you also have the Ravage available to make sure that you're able to win those team fights. When Lycan is knocking at your door, it's better just to make sure he doesn't get there.
And I do like to point out that when you've got the Tidehunter, the Lycan has to think, can I really commit to these towers, or am I going to need a BKB? And a lot of the times, Lycan will pick up a BKB very early against a Tidehunter for that sole reason alone, but Zero Latitude will help themselves to a Shadow Shaman now, so the push is starting to build.
Yeah, and if the Lycanthrope is forced into building the BKB first, that's almost a mini win for Mineski, as he's not going to be pushing as strong as the Lycanthrope that's building straight into the Necronomicon after his Vlads.
I would completely agree with that one, and from where we sit, we do go into the next banning phase. Bristleback taken away, so is the Skywrath Mage, but now Zero Latitude have to choose another ban, and what do they choose to remove? The Tinker. No surprises, they don't want Jaco getting that again, and I am not surprised in the slightest. But now, one final ban going the way of Mineski. Do they ban out, say, the Pugna? Do they ban out the... I wasn't going to say Queen of Pain, they actually ban out the Queen of Pain, and they will pick up the Invoker to go up against potential in the mid lane. This means safe lane farming Viper.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see the Queen of Pain ban, actually. Maybe just a hero that Mineski don't want to play up against in the Invoker versus Queen of Pain matchup. She's favored slightly, I don't know. That's very peculiar. Usually, maybe if there's like a Faceless Void on the enemy team, you could ban out the Queen of Pain. I don't know, it's a hero that would rely a little bit too much on snowballing, but then again, it can make a lot of space for the Lycanthrope if it roams around. So I guess it makes sense, but I think some other heroes are a little bit scarier.
Yeah, I can agree with that one. And from where we sit, what are Zero Latitude going to put up against the Invoker here?
I'm not entirely sure. The matchup that if they want to just buckle down in their lanes and dominate the Invoker, it's probably going to be an OD. But then again, there are a lot of different heroes that could trade evenly with the Invoker, and honestly, I think a Puck would be really solid for them. They're missing their teamfight initiation, and Puck and Lycanthrope is a really good combination, as you're able to hold people in place with that Dream Coil to give Lycanthrope the uptime on his auto attacks, but I'm not sure you're going to pick the Puck this early. I think they'll fill probably their offlaner as well as their other support before we see that 5th pick.
Yep, yeah, that sounds about right. And I would quite like to see an OD, but we're actually going to get an Ember Spirit, and this is something I didn't expect, since you've got the Lycan and the Shadow Shaman who are very centric on pushing, and they have some team fight, but they want to bring down towers early. Ember is a complete reverse of this. He wants to just farm up, get himself to the drums, the Battle Fury, and then fight, unless we see maybe the defensive Ember Guard build where he can brawl a little bit better.
Yeah, Ember Spirit's timing is, I don't know, very peculiar as a hero. He peaks whenever he gets those high amount of levels up into the Flame Guard as well as the Chains, which is the standard build you're going to see now. And then later on, once he gets the large amount of farm, your Sleight of Fist is going to be very scary. But it's almost like the exact opposite peak of a Lycanthrope, where, excuse me, Lycanthrope in the early game is going to really suffer before he gets those early items, and then he's going to be really strong when he's pushing, and then he's going to fall off a little bit later on. I don't know, the Ember Spirit just kind of seems a little bit out of place in this draft, but he combos well with the Elder Titan. It kind of feels like there's two separate ideas coming out of the Zero Latitude draft, where you have the Ember Spirit Elder Titan, and then you have the Shadow Shaman Lycan. You have push, then you have this team fight that's going to peak later on.
Yeah, I would be inclined to agree with you. Maybe they want something a little bit more for security-led game, but a split idea in the draft can completely throw off a game's momentum, and we've seen that happen before. I believe, when was the last game that I cast where that happened? That would have been...
5 seconds remaining.
I want to say that was Golden Esports season, but I'm not actually certain. But from where we sit, we've got one more ban coming out of Zero Latitude, and what can they really pick to address the problem of Mineski and Team Green plus Invoker?
Well, let's see. As far as this last ban, up against Mineski, we're probably looking at another support. The really high-tier supports aren't really left in the pool anymore. Shadow Shaman already taken up, Earthshaker and Skywrath Mage have been banned out. Wraith King is probably one of the bigger ones that Mineski might be considering, but they're going to ban out the Disruptor. A Silence would be really solid up against the Ember Spirit, and I think that's a okay ban. There's not very many silencing supports left in the pool.
No, there aren't, and I like that approach. They're locking out the heroes that Zero Latitude would have big problems with. Specifically the Disruptor one, since that's the range on the Static Storm is so large, it can disrupt the entire team fight if they fight in a small enclosed space.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, Zero Latitude are kind of in a similar situation, although
5 seconds remaining.
I don't know, neither team really have great ways to get these supports in range to start off kills. Shadow Shaman early on is not going to be able to get very close for Shackles unless he gets boots first. And the supports that you usually see to close that gap are the Skywrath Mage and the Earthshaker, and neither of them are available. We might see Zero Latitude just kind of backing off and play a very greedy supporting duo with the Sand King as well as Shadow Shaman, and have the Shadow Shaman sit in lane, kind of soak experience and zone wherever you can with Ether Shock. But no, it's going to be Mineski picking up the Sand King, and I think that's a better pick for them. As with the Rubik Lift into the Burrow Strike, that combo can get some kills, and then again, it can also play defensively pretty effectively.
Yeah, the Sand King does make a lot of sense. I was wondering if we weren't going to see a Silencer. I mean, Nortram as a support role can work, and he can turn into that semi-carry if they get very aggressive in terms of kills, but Rubik Sand King makes more sense in terms of team fighting.
Okay, so somebody in the chat is saying that my volume is too low, so I'm not sure if that's on my end or your end. Do I sound okay?
You were sounding okay to me. I've just increased you a little on my end myself off the back of that one. I'm not actually sure, since I haven't changed it since we last cast together. Let's put it that way.
Okay, well, I'll listen over to that for a while, but we're going to have to wait for this last pick coming out from Zero Latitude. They have 30 seconds to think about it, and I'm not sure there's really a very clear pick. I think Wraith King would be solid. The lifesteal for Ember Spirit as well as Lycanthrope is really great, especially when you stack that on top of a Vladimir's, as well as allowing the Shadow Shaman to roam a lot more effectively. But that would also make their landing phase pretty greedy with 3 melee cores as well as 1 melee support, and then Shadow Shaman, who's just innately pretty short ranged in his disables. They'll have quite a bit of difficulty, but they'll go for the Vengeful Spirit instead. It's going to function kind of in a similar way, although this is going to give them a lot of damage when combined with the Elder Titan aura.
Yes, not only that, the Vengeful Spirit aura for the Ember Spirit as well as the Lycan. The towers will fall very quickly if the lineup from Zero Latitude can get to them. And that's the big question, if they can get to them. They have to fight through the Sand King, the Rubik, the Ravage, as well as Invoker. It's going to be fairly nasty, but as we go into this game, from where I sit, who do you... I'm going to say my money is on Mineski for this one, but who do you think will have the advantage on this one?
Actually, as far as the volume is concerned, I think it's your volume that's a little bit low.
My volume?
Let me see.
Huh.
Which is really peculiar.
Yeah, very peculiar, since a lot of the time it's the reverse, and my...
I think just revert whatever change you did with my volume.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. 1 second on that.
Okay.
I have never had a problem with my own volume before, that's a first. But none the matter, where we sit, let's introduce the players as for a second time. We've got Fated to Love You on that Lycan, we've got ZVR on the Shadow Shaman, over on the Vengeful Spirit, we've got La Vida. Then going towards that mid lane, we have Bramese, and finally up on the off lane we have Speaker playing that Elder Titan.
And well, on the side of Mineski, playing in the Dire, we're going to have Jesse Vash taking up the Sand King. The Tide Hunter, I can't remember what his name is. Actually, is that Oa? Okay, yeah. And then Playhard, playing on the Rubik. Jacko, going to be playing on the Invoker, who had a very interesting Tinker game 1. Viper, going to be played by, oh dear, I can't remember his name either. Joven. Okay, there we go. That's easy enough. Yeah, they're making a very large rotation. Might actually catch out the Shadow Shaman here. He's going to be tangoing up with Jesse Vash.
Well, no, telekinesis is going to be more than enough there. I'm going to throw him back. Sure, you're going to get Shackles on the Playhard, but it does not matter. First Blood goes the way of Playhard. ZVR falling.
Yeah, Sand King didn't even throw out a Burst Strike and all of that. All they needed was the lift, that was about it. When you're caught as a support between so many heroes, especially as a slow, very immobile support like Shadow Shaman, it's very easy to get killed. And now, with Invis Rune picked up by Jesse Vash as well as Playhard, this could lead them to a secondary kill as well, and a very good start for Mineski.
Yeah, very true, and I've just increased my own volume, so hopefully I should be a little bit more audible now. That's a first for that one, as I mentioned. And with this Invis from Playhard, they're going to look for the rotation onto Bramese. He's going to be the easiest target right now, because he has no points spent at the minute, and if he does go for the Ember Guard, that's not really going to prevent much in terms of magical damage, only 50. But Jacko does have some physical right-click at the moment on this Invoker, and we do have nearby rotation as well possible from Jesse Vash on that Sand King. Now we get the telekinesis up. Do we get a Burrow Strike? We need that Burrow Strike. It lands, but where's the physical damage? We need a few more right-clicks, and we'll go the way of Jesse Vash on that Sand King.
Yeah, Boots first really paying up for Jesse Vash there, as they allowed him to get in range for a Burrow Strike, because the level 1 spell Burrow Strike really falls short in that range department. But he was able to snag that kill on the Ember Spirit, and this supporting duo is doing a lot of work for Mineski here.
And while that's going on, we have a little bit of a trade going on the bottom lane here. You've got La Vida trying to harass Oa on the Tide, but harassing Tide is like running your head into a brick wall a lot of the time. It'll be harder when he gets that point up in Kraken Shell, certainly, but this is probably the only time La Vida's going to be able to be this ballsy once the Tide gets those extra levels up, gets that point into Kraken, and now he will happily trade blows with La Vida, especially if he can hit La Vida with that all-important Anchor Smash, getting that negative 60% physical damage.
The top matchup is the one that we haven't really touched on that much. The Vipers, as expected, winning this matchup, although the Elder Titan hasn't been zoned out since no supports are inbound. He's taken a lot of damage and has no more regeneration available in his inventory, and I don't know, he's not going to be looking too great. If anybody else shows their face in this lane, the Elder Titan might die, and this is really the weakest portion of the game for Elder Titan. It's that laning stage, and up against a Viper, it's not going to be a good one.
And that's actually going to be a kill, surely. The poisons will tick over, and Viper cleans up Speaker on the Elder. But equally, bot lane, you've got Oa getting very aggressive, getting quite out of position here. Gets stunned once. Do we have ZVR nearby with the Shackles? I believe we do. Invoker dies in the middle lane. Sorry, Invoker gets a kill in the middle lane onto Bramese, but while this is going on, you've still got Oa tanking up like a beast, I'll point out, with only level 2 at this point. And I'm surprised that they couldn't kill him off. Where was the control from ZVR? He was in range for a Shackle, surely.
Yeah, he was. For the longest time, he just held on to it, maybe expecting the Kraken Shield to debuff it off, and he didn't want to risk that. I don't know, it's definitely worth going for it. saving that mana is going to do next to nothing. Although they will force the Tidehunter back to base, it's a missed opportunity, I feel, for Zero Latitude. And yeah, the Ember Spirit died just to a rotation coming out from the Rubik and Sand King again. 4-0, Mineski are absolutely dominating these lanes.
Indeed, if Mineski can maintain this level of advantage, it could rapidly snowball out of control once again for Mineski. And we did see that in game number 1 from that Tinker, but Jesse Vash will find himself a Levida, and Levida could go down here, especially when Jaco is throwing those right clicks in, but in comes the Ember Spirit, gets a good chains onto Invoker, and he will fall. Sunstrike's going to pop, but it's not enough to finish off the Vengeful Spirit, and she'll hobble away at no health, but Play Hard getting chopped apart by Speaker with that Anvil, and one more right click will spell his doom. Hell, it could even be the Ancestral Spirit at this point, but Speaker not going to be able to get it, doesn't want to die for it, instead uses the Spirit. Spirit's just out of range, and it's not enough to finish off Play Hard, and Play Hard is safe, at least for now.
Yeah, the hesitation coming out from that Elder Titan cost him the kill on the Rubik, which is unfortunate for him. I don't think he would have died in one auto attack since his bonus damage from the Astral Spirit wore off, but one normal auto attack and then the Astral Spirit would have definitely killed off the Rubik. So, yeah, it's something that could have gone a lot better for Zero Latitude had they picking up the second kill, but they still got the Invoker. Chains attempted in mid, but he's going to eat himself a cold snap and a lot of damage from the Forge Spirit and the Invoker.
Well, that physical damage does go completely through the Ember Guard, and sure, it's going to avoid the cold snap damage, but the physical damage of an Exort Invoker is the key threat, and almost bringing down the Ember, sure, but while this is going on bot lane, you've still got Oa getting very aggressive here with Fated to Love You, and even forcing back the Lycan completely here with the creep wave. It's nice to see the Tide being able to play this aggressive. It gives him such a good opening and opportunity, and equally you have Play Hard nearby, and these two can secure a kill very easily at this point.
I'm actually surprised that the Lycanthrope is farming as well as he is up against the Tidehunter, but they will be able to get the lift on the Shadow Shot and pull him back into the Anchor Smash. It's not going to be enough damage as of yet, and they won't be able to secure that one as the Sunstrike comes through. Will it land? No, it won't. ZVR is going to survive. The Rubik might not be so lucky if Levita gets in range for this magic missile. Both of them have boots, however, and it's not going to be the easiest, as it's only a 5 extra movement speed. It will be enough as they catch out Play Hard over next to the river.
And the kill does go onto the Ember Spirit as well, which is possibly the worst thing here for Mineski, if Zero Latitude can get that Ember online. But of course, while this has all been going on, Joven's not been on this Viper, and he is top of the board in terms of last and nice. He might even pick up another kill here. He's going to start focusing Speaker with that Orb Walk, Viper being the sheer king, undisputed king of Orb Walking, and he's at least duking relatively okay for now, but one more attack will finish him off at this point. Don't tell me he's got away from this. Has he seriously got away from this? Jesse Vash rotating in, and Speaker's actually going to live.
The jukes were too strong. Fog of War, if that was daytime, that was for sure a kill, but with nighttime vision as well as the trees not being cut down there and with no Tangas on the Viper, he skates away with the skin of his teeth. I don't know, it's a build we don't usually see from our Vipers. It is going to be the max out poison attack, and it's great for controlling up these melee heroes, but maybe an extra point Nether Toxin could have ended up securing himself the kill. I don't know, it's a good build, but I'm very surprised that Spice of Dandy got out of there.
Yeah, so am I. I mean, I was near enough assured that that was a kill. I mean, 1v1, if a Viper catches you like that, there are very few heroes that have the possibility to escape, but just superior duking power coming out of Speaker, and credit to him.
Definitely. Jesse Vash is farming up an absolute storm here, being involved in 3 kills as well as abusing the jungle fairly effectively. He's getting very close to a Blink Dagger at below 7 minutes, and this could be an incredibly fast one for our Sand King.
And that could possibly be one of the records. If we had a statsman, I'm sure they would be able to enlighten us in terms of the Blink Dagger timings on the Sand King, but this is still phenomenally quick. He's actually going for the Arcanes, he's not going for the Dagger, which is a little bit of a disappointment, but the Viper now is basically full mana once again, and equally Play Hard, can rotate in. They're going to try to go onto Speaker here. They get the Telekinesis. Where's the follow-up, though? In comes Bramese, gets one chain. Can they finish this off, though? The Sunstrike will drop, and that will clean up the Elder Titan, but equally Bramese just hacking, slashing, chopping, and managing to finish himself off a Joven on a Viper.
Yeah, after having such a terrible start on this Ember Spirit, he's been able to pick up 3 kills unobstructed, which is wonderful for Zero Latitude. I don't know, it would have been a very easy, straightforward kill onto the Elder Titan had there been no backup, but Mineski just weren't expecting the Vengeful Spirit and Ember Spirit to be behind him. It is going to leave Jacko in mid unchecked, and he'll be able to clean up, or pick up his Midas, rather, after his boots is down in bottom. We're going to have a bit of a push going to this tier 1 tower, although I think it's going to be delayed by the Tidehunter will pull off the aggro, although it's going to sustain a lot of damage as they go in mid.
Mid lane, in the meantime, you do have the Vengeful Spirit of Levita getting caught out of position. Sunstrike's not going to connect, though. It didn't get thrown back by Playhard, but it does not matter. Invoker will clean it up anyway. Jesse Vash going to be low health. He's going to have to hide in the sandstorm, but equally, the combo of Bramisi and Danny just doing too much. The Invoker will fall, and the Spirit will drop as well, cleaning up the Sand King as well off the back of that. Double kill, the way of Speaker.
Yeah, this is the synergy that you look for when you see an Elder Titan as well as an Ember Spirit. They just do so much damage. It's not the maxed out aura just yet, but it's about there with 3 points in. And the Elder Titan's Immolation as well as his chains are doing a lot of work for them. And once he gets the physical damage online with the Vengeful Spirit also backing up, this could be ridiculous if they're able to catch out a good stomp. The biggest problem for Zero Latitude is they don't have great ways to catch people out in a big AoE. They have no big ultimates like a Tidehunter and Enigma behind them. And well, speaking of the Tidehunter, he's going to bump into Bramisi, but he has a double damager, not where you want to be hiding. He's going to try to juke through the trees, and TP's out, he'll be fine.
Yeah, that level of map awareness coming out of the Tide, more than enough. But from where we stand, I'm actually slightly surprised that Zero Latitude have been managing to find the kills that they have. And a lot of it is off the back of this Elder Titan. The Elder Titan with that aura, with just the sheer physical right-click that he's been contributing to these fights, has had a staggering impact on this game so far.
It really has. A hero that you usually don't see is one that has an impact this early on, but he's managed to find his level 8 at 9 minutes in, which is absolutely wonderful for an offlane Elder Titan. Despite dying twice, that's almost expected, and whenever he did die, they were able to at least get a couple of return kills.
I'd completely agree, but now we're starting to get to that point where the Lycan can start bringing down towers as well, so he's going to start to be pulling his weight in terms of his team's lineup. And he has his Vlads, he's almost got his full treads, and they're going to commit to this tier 1. In comes Tide. Oh, is there, but he gets hexed. Are they going to commit the Ravage? Yes, they are. There's going to be no escape from this one for Fate to Love You. They bring down the tower, but they lose the Lycan, and they lose the Shadow Shaman. In the meantime, though, you do get Levita rotating with Speaker. They do commit some stuns, but it's not going to be enough to save any of their teammates. And we might even see some counter-aggression here out of the lineup from Mineski, and they can push down into this tier 1 themselves here.
It's not the fastest push, and 3 heroes coming out from Zero Latitude are waiting in the trees. They are going to stun up the Viper, and he's taking so much damage with the Ember Spirit jumping in as well. He's going to be punched to death by Spisa. And now the Tidehunter, he waits a little too long. The chains are going to connect. That's going to be 2 kills going the way of Zero Latitude. Mineski hanging around for too long.
Completely agreed. So that in the end was a 2-for-2 trade plus a tier 1 in favor of Zero Latitude. And if they can maintain this level of aggression and bring down towers, Zero Latitude have a fighting shot of clawing their way through this game. But it is going to be on Lycan's back effectively. They need these towers down. The Lycan's going to be the one to set this up and do the work, at least until we see a little bit more physical damage come online for the Ember Spirit. And it would not surprise me for a Drum and a Battle Fury to be up within the next 8 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's the plan for the Ember Spirit, and if he doesn't die a lot of times, I think he'll probably be able to get that, and that'll be wonderful for them. Even without anything else other than just the straight-up Battle Fury, usually you say that Ember Spirit's damage is pretty lackluster, but when you also have all of their armor being taken away from the Elder Titan with the plus-minus armor of the Vengeful Spirit, as well as the extra damage aura, he's going to be hitting like an absolute truck. I'm not a huge fan of this Vengeful Spirits build this game, although this is the standard one where you just max out the stun. Honestly, I would have liked to see either Max Aura or Max Howl.
I would agree. The Max Howl for the negative armor in combination with the natural order, I think, would have been the most effective in this game. At least mathematically, I think so, considering the negative armor, I believe, is -6 at level 4, yeah. So being at -6 armor 11 minutes in this game is pretty damn huge.
Oh, Viper up top. He's getting stalked up by Zero Latitude. Let's see if they're going to be able to get the initiation onto him. He's too far away, but now with the Ember Spirit jumping in, they'll get the chains to start us off.
But now we get the TPs coming in, but they're going to be cancelled. They cannot hold and defend that Viper, and just the 4-man rotation gank squad from Zero Latitude is too much. While this is going on, mid lane, getting sieged in by Playhard and Jacko, and they're going to start getting some damage onto this tier 1, but are the lineup from Zero Latitude willing to defend this, or are they going to be happy to let it fall and go for an exchange of towers? Splitter's going to come in through from the side, and this lands on Playhard, but there's no follow-up at this point. The Spirits comes down, but that's not enough. They need someone else to rotate in. The tier 1 still does fall in favour of Jacko, and there is just no answer. Or is there? In comes Bramisi, looking for Playhard. But the Hex, the Sunstrike is more than enough to commit, and all it takes is the tower to finish that one off. And a little bit of over-aggression coming in from Bramisi is enough for the turnaround kill in favour of Mineski. So a tower and a kill the way of Mineski Gaming in this one.
Yeah, I think that Elder Titan, he probably could have dropped the Spirit after dropping the Earth Splitter and potentially could have gone for the Deny with that extra damage. But yeah, that play from the Ember Spirit, excuse me, was just a little too ballsy there. He ran in while only seeing the Rubik, who was very low. He kind of tunnel visioned him, and he didn't expect the Sand King to be there. And just getting caught out under tower by pretty much any disable is going to be problematic, especially when you have two of them.
And the Sunstrike landing on his head as well was a big thing. Already that's 350 pure damage. That is a absurdly high amount of pure damage. And from where we sit, let's take a look at the graphs at 13 minutes in, shall we? It's only a 4,000 lead for Mineski and a 1,500 experience lead. This is completely recoverable, and we consider only one tier 1 tower has fallen so far. The pushing power of Zero Latitude is starting to come online. They have their Mass Serpent Wards, their Lycan is starting to farm up reasonably well, and the Lycan is not going for a BKB at all. He's just committing straight for that Necro book.
This is going to really harm their ability to fight a 5-on-5 engagement unless they land a really nice stomp and have Ember Spirit being absolutely stacked. It's going to be an issue for them, I feel. It's going to be hard for them to find the fights. They don't have a Blink Initiation like Mineski do with their Sand King, or anything coming out from their Tidehunter. Like the Ravage, even without a Blink, it's still a potent way to start off fights.
Yep, and speaking of Blink, they're going to blink and connect with 2 Burrow Strikes. The stun's going to fly onto Jesse Vash, but the Sunstrike's enough to clean up the Shadow Shaman.
Yeah, that's the first showing of that Blink Dagger on Jesse Vash. I was expecting him to skip the Arcane Boots, and honestly, I think that would have been a better choice. But he has it at 14 minutes in, which is definitely respectable for his support. And oh, they catch out Accelerate inside the jungle with the double damager, and he has a Spirit and will be able to remnant out to safety.
Well, if he can just maintain his survivability and continue to farm up, the Ember should be safe. But what is Ember susceptible to the most? Silence.
Orchid on Invoker.
Yes, yep. Silences, and Jericho does have himself an Orchid. Ruining my segue right there. We do see the initiation mid lane. Bramizi this time not getting away and gets picked up by Jacob.
Yep. Sorry, stole your thunder there a little bit, but yeah, Jericho is going to be looking pretty good in mid, but that might change if Levita gets his stun off, and he will. Where's the follow-up? There's the Elder Titan, and now they'll just blow him up. Too much magic nuke damage.
He hung around far too long, and if, of course, the Elder Titan gets on top of you with that level 4 in natural order, that's 33% more magical damage taken. The base resistance drained completely. But we do get TPs towards this mid lane from Joven. He wants to fight. You equally have Play Hard ready to back him up on that Rubik. And what does Rubik have stolen at this point? He's got Searing Chains. Is that really the right choice for the Rubik to keep? I don't think so, considering he wants to stay out of melee range. But now we get the Blink Initiation from Jesse Vash. They're going to drop the Viper Strike onto Speaker. If they can finish him off, that's going to be pretty damn huge. But in comes Oa. Commits with the Gush, with the Anchor Smash, doing some good damage into Levita, and there's no escaping this one. 2 kills going the way of Mineski.
Despite it doing absolutely nothing, the Vengeful Spirit did cancel the Epicenter on the Sand King. It wasn't enough to save them, but that's going to be on cooldown after not being used. I think that was a mistake by Jesse Vash to use the Epicenter in the first place, but it's still going to be on cooldown.
Yep, but with that Epicenter, though, the level 2 Epicenter is now available. What do you think we're going to see item-wise next out of Jesse? Is it going to be that straight Veil of Discord that we've come to expect, or is he going to opt for maybe something just to tank up? He's going to go for braces here, but is it really viable here for him to go for a BKB just to ensure that he can move around these team fights unobstructed?
BKB is okay, but I think that this team just needs a lot of armor as he goes in mid onto the Shadow Shaman. They need the Sunstrike to land, and it's not going to do so. So Shadow Shaman will be able to walk to safety. They desperately need armor, and honestly, I think if he has the gold to do so, I think Vladimir's offering, despite not having a melee right-clicking hero, would be really solid as the Stomp goes on top.
In comes the Earth Splitter. This is going to be huge. It connects on 2, but instant mech. And now comes the Lycan Metamorphosis, but they can't commit to anyone. That mech just removed all of the presence that came in. And now we get the Ravage commit coming out of Mineski. They're going to fight back into one. Bramizi needs to get the hell out of dodge, but Oa is going to be the first to fall in this fight. And from where we stand, in comes a Sleight of Fist, the damage being good across the board, and Fated to Love You trying to go on Jacko, but he's just going to Ghost Walk, and the stun comes in from Jesse Vash. They're going to turn around, get the kill, double kill for Jacko, and now we get the push potentially for this tier 1. They're even going to bring back Bramizi. He's not going to escape this one, surely not. He goes down, triple kill for Jacko. Now they're looking for Speaker, blocking from Jesse Vash. He'll have a Burrow Strike in 2 seconds. 1 second, there it drops, and now they're going to just go aggressive. Jacko, going to get the next one? Yes, he is. Ultra kill for Jacko. And
One for 5 is a trade, buyback. On the
Speaker
Elder
comes
Titan,
back in. This could be a rampage. He's going to try to bring down Jacko, but Jacko's going to kite. He just wants that rampage and not going to get it denied by Playhard, who takes it with that Fade Bolt.
Tower is under attack.
Yeah, that was a Tidehunter for 6 with the dieback on the Elder Titan, as well as a tower going the way of Mineski. That was a very ill-advised buyback coming out from the Elder Titan. I'm not sure what he was hoping to accomplish there. He didn't have enough damage in order to do anything. Even if he got the damage coming out from the Astral Spirit on all 5 of those heroes, it would have been massive, but he was just controlled too well. Yeah, it was a really great Ravage from the Tidehunter, and even though he died, he landed that on 4 heroes, which was everybody that was close.
That is the power of the blink. Sure, sometimes we say that you don't need a blink on the Tide, but blink against this team, complete sense. Getting on top of the Lycan, getting in the middle of the mix. I mean, locking down Bramizi was a key thing in that one. Right now, Fated to Love You in a lot of trouble, but in comes the Epicenter, and the Burrow Strike going to bring down that Lycan, and mega kill now for Jacko.
Yeah, Jacko, that last fight went so well for him, and he's now on another 4,322 gold on top of his Orchid. He can go for anything he wants to. Tier 1 tower in mid might fall. The Viper and Tidehunter are inbound, however.
Yep, and that is now an Aghanims ready for Joven, but they're not going to be able to initiate off the back of that one. The tier 1 will fall, and Bramizi will just hold back that Viper with that Searing Chains. But it's a curious pick here. You say there's 4,300 odd gold onto Jacko. What is the choice here? What is the right one? I mean, to some extent, BKB makes sense for Jacko in this one. Equally, Sheepstick.
Honestly, I kind of like Shiva's. I think it'll offer him some nice teamfight control and damage up against the Lycanthrope, as well as some much-needed armor for him. It is going to be a 4-staff, as well as a Boots of Travel recipe, so he's just going to go for the more mobility, which is okay as well. But I think one of the more big-ticket 6-slot Invoker items, whether that's Sheepstick or Necronomicon, probably would have suited him a little bit better. I'd expect him to go for that after this, but with a Midas, it's not going to take that long. This is incredible farm for an Invoker 20 minutes in.
Indeed, I don't think I've seen an Invoker this big before, but in comes the Burrow Strike. Gonna catch onto Fated to Love You and ZVR, but in comes Ravage to stop this, and Fated to Love You will equally take a fall. That's 2 kills off the back of that, and in comes the Earth Splitter. It's not going to do anywhere near enough. No one is dead on the side of Mineski from where we stand. Burrow Strike up to Speaker, and he is going to fall if they can get on top of him. And there's the Telekinesis and the Viper Strike. There's no hope for Speaker to escape this one, and that's another 4 kills the way of Mineski.
Radiant's bottom
They're just taking these terrible fights that they can't afford to engage into. If they had maybe a Tidehunter instead of the Elder Titan, they could have hoped for a contest of that Roshan, but they just don't have the control in the team fights. They jump in, all 4 of the heroes, and then they get counter-initiated by the Ravage, and then there's nothing they can do. They just all die.
Yeah, it's just a disaster of a fight. I mean, you cannot hold against that. This is where the Death Ball has come online for Mineski. We go on about the Lycan all the damn time. The Shadow Shaman, they have pushing power on the side of Zero Latitude, but they just cannot bring it to bear.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest things that you see when you're looking at a push lineup. Although there's these heroes that offer a lot of damage as well as structural damage to bring down the towers, the key part of the pushing lineup that Zero Latitude are missing this game is the way to start the fights. They don't have a blink on their Shadow Shaman, and even if they did, that's only a single target. They need a way to get the fights on their side, just like Mineski do.
Yeah, speaking of fights, the Burrow Strike initiation that Sand King is too damn strong, and Joven just trading blow for blow into the Radiant side right now, and there's just no hope for this one. Speaker going down now as well, and the Epicenter on the back line. Bramizi taking large amounts of damage, but could potentially get a turnaround kill onto Jesse Vash here, but we still do have the Vengeful Spirit falling, and Jesse Vash is going to be the victim here. That's a Sun Strike, and it does not connect, unfortunately. Bramizi nearly getting crated there, but a couple more right clicks, and the Orchid coming out of Jacko gets him the Wicked Sick. And this could be a certain tier 2 tower. That's another full 5-man wipe, and not a single member of Mineski fall.
GG. I don't think there's really anything that Zero Latitude can do. They can hope for maybe, like, the Dream Sleep on 5 into the Earth Splitter, but even then, they won't have the damage. They needed some way to start the fights, and although their draft looks really sick if they can get up to the point where everybody's stacked, they couldn't do that when they lose all of those team fights, and they... I don't know, it was some synergy that I like seeing, although they missed that keystone of their lineup.
I would completely agree, and that is a 21-minute victory still for Mineski, and they have shown that they are a force to be reckoned here within the Asian division of JDL. I mean, do you have any last thoughts on how they've been performing lately?
No, I don't know. I've watched Zero Latitude play a lot yesterday. It was 3 best of 2s with them, and every single one of them, it's been a 0-2. There's just something wrong with their lineup. They've been cycling through stand-ins throughout the week as well, and I just don't think they've found a groove yet.
Yeah, for Zero Latitude, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For Zero Latitude, I'd completely agree. They need to find the footing. They need to find their groove, and maybe the new patch 6.82, when it does hit, will help them with that. But still, a dominating performance here from Mineski, and we still do have another series to come tonight for you, ladies and gentlemen, here on HeflaTV 2. We have at, I want to say, 1500 CET. Give me a second. It's here somewhere. At 17:30, we have Mineski up against Arrow, and I will be casting that one here on HeflaTV 2. I'm going to leave the stream running with some music in the meantime, so you guys can put your feet up and relax if you want. But for this series, that's all we've got. So you can find all of us here at HeflaTV at HeflaTV on Twitter, on Twitch. You can find us at HeflaMoke on YouTube, and same for Facebook. But where can they find you, Grandis? Ah, Grandis is already gone. Oh, damn it. He's always vanished at the end of the game. Either way, I believe you can find Grandis at GrandisV on Twitter. You can find me at Mr_Blackadder. But either way, ladies and gentlemen, we shall catch you for series number 2 at 17:30 CEST. Mineski Gaming versus Arrow coming up next.
From your thoughts, soon you shall perish, quick and unseen.